Hi there, it's Mr. Smith, and in this video I'll be going over the college algebra syllabus. This is actually for a co-requisite course, meaning it's linked with DMAT 0315. And when I go over this syllabus, it's pretty much going to cover everything for both courses. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, we're really good about getting back to students within 24 hours. I'm normally much quicker than that. If there's ever a time where you wait more than a day, then please email me again. It's not intentional. I normally am pretty good about getting back in a timely manner. My name is Scott Smith. Notice Scott only has one T in it, and so my nickname is 1T. So if you want, you can call me 1T or Mr. Smith, or some people call me Mr. Scott. I'm pretty easy about all that. My email is scottsmith@dallascollege.edu. My phone number is 972-677-8940. If you want to have a conversation, that's the best way. Let's talk instead of doing several emails or texts. My office is J127. And as far as office hours are concerned, I'll be announcing those in the first week. This is our division if you need to contact them for any reason. Now the next thing you're going to see is new if you've been going to Brookhaven or Dallas College. It's got a bunch of support contacts. There's 5 here, things like technical support, tutoring, success coach links. So make sure you're familiar with what's there. If there may be something there you need to, or a contact you need to get a hold of. All right, let's move on to course information. Again, that's college algebra, which is also called Math 1314. Our section number is 21104, and we meet 12:30 to 1:50, 2 to 3:20. So it's a lot of time, twice a week, in room B301. The certification date is September 9th, which we'll talk more about shortly. And the last day to withdraw is November 14th. Now, I always tell students, make sure you withdraw the right way. Sometimes students will get discouraged. They just stop coming. Things change. They come back in a couple years and they find they're on academic probation. So if for some reason you do need to drop, I would encourage you to talk to me. I hope you will talk to me. You may need to talk to your success coach is a great place to start. Veterans Affairs if you're a veteran. Financial aid may be an issue. But you just want to take care of business and do things the right way. So if you do come back in the future, you won't have any problems. There's a course description here and student learning outcomes. You can read those on your own if you're interested. We're basically doing college algebra. So just a more advanced algebra than what you would have seen in high school if you stopped at Algebra 2. Let's move on to the next page. In every syllabus, you're going to find the Texas Core Objectives. So if you haven't seen those, these are the kinds of skills that are important when you get out in the real world and things that we want you to work on and we want to see improve while you're at Dallas College. So things like critical thinking skills, communication skills, these are all very important as you look to the future. So be familiar with those. Required course materials. So we have what's called the Include-Ed program, which basically means that your materials will be supplied along with your tuition. And basically you're going to access everything through your eCampus. In our case, it's for MyLab Math, and that comes along with a copy of the textbook online. And so that's the materials that are covered with tuition. It does talk about opting out of Include Ed, which means you'd have to buy the materials on your own. There's really no advantage to doing that, and it often leads to some major problems during the semester. So I encourage you not to opt out, and things should be fine. This is the textbook we use. It's College Algebra with Intermediate Algebra. And there is one thing that you need that's not part of Include Ed, and that's a graphing calculator. I'll be using the TI-84 in class, and that's the one I recommend. Just really encourage you, if you don't have one, to ask around. Maybe a family member or a friend may have one sitting around they're not currently using. And of course you can go online and try to get a bargain, or depending on what you're planning to do, if you're going on to like this calculus sequence, maybe you want to get a nice new one. But if this is your last math course, then you might want to get a used one off the internet. Spend a little bit less money. Let's go on. Of course, you're going to need a computer with reliable internet access. We're going to be using a program called MyLab Math, and you're going to be, basically it's an online textbook based software where you're going to be doing all your assignments, mainly, well, homework and quizzes. We'll do the tests in class. So it's important that you have access to a computer, hopefully at home, and that you have good internet service. If you have any problems with that, I hope you'll talk to me and we might be able to help you out with that. I know sometimes students can rent hotspots or use hotspots, which you can have at home and use to get on the internet and do your work. So graded work, you'll notice for college algebra, 16% of your grade is homework, 8% is quizzes. We have 7 tests, and that's 8% each for a total of 56% of your grade. And then you have the final exam, which is 20% of your grade. Our grades are awarded the traditional way. We have 90 to 100 is an A, and so on. So how do we determine your grade for 0315? Well, students who finish out the semester will earn the higher of the following 2 grades. The student's course grade average for work through test 5, including the first 5 scores, or the final average earned for Math 1314 at the completion of the course. Students who earn a final grade of D in Math 1314 will receive a C in DMAT 0315. I'm sorry, my air conditioning just came on. I'm going to go ahead and fix this so we don't have that problem. Alright, it should go off in a few seconds here. Anyway, the point is, obviously your first choice is to pass both courses. And, this is an intense course. It's a lot to do 2 courses in one semester, and college algebra can be a real challenging topic for students. So at the very least, you want to pass the 0315 part, so if you do have to retake college algebra, you're only retaking 1 course. And so that would be your minimal goal, and again, of course, you want to pass both courses, and I hope that's what happens for you. Let's see, description of graded work. So homework will be assigned in MyLab Math to practice the material learned in each section of the textbook. One of the really nice things about MyLab Math is you're going to know if you're doing the problem right or wrong right away when you click on your answer. And normally if you have a wrong answer, you have access to a detailed solution to the problem, or at least an example. On the other hand, to learn the material well, I really think it's important that you write out all your work in homework, or I'm sorry, in some kind of a notebook. I know for myself, writing things out helps me to learn the material. But the other thing is, when you take a quiz, you're going to cover maybe 3 sections, and so you can go back. If you've done a good job, you should see what the problem is. You can see your work. If you had any questions or anything that you need to sort out before you take the quiz, then it's all right there in your notes. And so you study that, you take your quiz. That's what we're going to talk about next. So again, homework's 16% of your grade. So when you take your quizzes, and it's not just your quizzes, but also when you study for your test, you know, everything is leading up to the test. So if you're doing well on the quizzes, that's an indication that you're doing well with the material. If you're struggling on the quizzes, that says you're not ready for the test yet. And so the quizzes will help you to see if you're really learning the material. I always tell students, try not to use your notes when you take the quizzes, or at least maybe the first time, because when you take your test, you won't have any notes. So you can take quizzes up to 2 times, and I'll take your best score, and you do have they are timed, so watch that. There's 7 tests, each worth 100 points. Normally a test will cover a section or a chapter or 2. Each test will count for 8%. We talked about that. The other thing I want you to notice here is tests are going to be given in the academic testing center outside of class. We'll discuss this in detail when you take test 1. I've just found that we struggle to get through everything we need to do, and if I give tests in class, students generally don't feel like they have enough time. You go over to the testing center, you'll have plenty of time. So let's move on to final exam. Again, notice it's 25 question multiple choice test. It's going to count for 20% of your grade. And note, if your homework average at the end of the semester is at least 80%, your score on the final may be used to replace your lowest test score, except for on test 7. So if you have a bad test, then that's one way that you can get around basically not having it count. Extra credit on tests. So for the first 5 tests, you'll have the opportunity to earn up to 5 extra credit points by taking the test review that's in my math lab. And you can get up to, again, 5 points, and you can see 70 to 74%, you'll get 1 bonus point. 90 to 100%, you're going to get 5, and then you have everything in between. So a lot of students take advantage of that, and it can really make a difference. Homework, late work policy. Homework quizzes and test reviews are due as indicated on the course calendar. I really think it's important that you're getting your assignments completed on time. However, if you do your homework or quizzes late, there's a 25% penalty. As far as test reviews are concerned, once you've taken your test, you can't go back and do those for bonus points. The whole point of the reviews is to help you prepare for the test, so just keep that in mind. Please make sure that you're here to take your tests, or that you get them done by the deadline. And if for some reason you miss the deadline, you need to contact me right away. Ideally, you want to let me know before the deadline so we can discuss another option or when you can take it. There's a little more flexibility if you talk to me ahead of time. Instructor communication, student communication. So obviously we're in class, so we'll communicate in class, but there are times when I may make an announcement, like if I'm sick. So hopefully at least a couple students will have a phone that gets the email right away, and they'll say, hey, Mr. Smith's gone. Also, I would call, and hopefully there'll be a note on the door, but there's just times when I may send out an email to get some information to you. So make sure that you're using your school email, and that you're monitoring it regularly, not only for my class, but for all your courses. It's just so important that you're getting that communication is occurring when it needs to occur. And when you send emails to your instructors, make sure you're using your school email. I know it's a little inconvenient, but I would encourage you to, if you have a smartphone, set it up so that it comes directly to your phone. I have 2 or 3 email accounts and they all come to the same place, and I see them on my phone right away. So that's the easiest way to deal with that. But the most important thing is you're getting those emails when they're sent out. Of course, you can always call me, and obviously you can talk to me before or after class. Let's move on to I just can't talk tonight. Attendance and participation. To be certified as attending this course, you must attend class at least once the first 2 weeks and begin working on assignments in MyLab Math. Now, that's a really low bar, but that's what we are held to. The bottom line, though, is if you're going to be successful in the course, you'll notice that all the homework through section 2.7 is supposed to be done by September 8th. And so, remember we said the certification date was September 9th. So basically that's what I'm looking for. You can do the minimum, but that's not going to help you to be successful in the course. We've had some issues with students just show up for a short period of time and then they don't come and they're getting money for something. And so that's something that we're looking to minimize. We want to, if our students aren't committed to taking the course, we don't want to, we don't want them getting financial aid for that. Emergency communication policy. Again, I'll notify you by email, and you can also see that you get alerts from the college if you'd like. So make sure you look that over. There's institutional policies, things like tutoring, disability services, dropping classes, repeating options, Title IX, and more. I would encourage you to go in there and make sure you're familiar with the policies that are there. Basically, we assume that you will do that at some point, and we expect you to do that. So that's pretty much it. If there's any changes, I'll let you know. The only thing left here is I do want to look at the schedule a little bit. So you can see on the course schedule, I tell you each week exactly what is due. And so you can see all of the assignments up to 2.1 are due on Sunday, September 1st. You'll also see when you're in MyLab Math that that date is there as well. And so it's very clear what's expected each week. I just want to mention we're really doing a lot the first 2 weeks. I know the Monday of the second week is also a holiday, so that's going to limit how much we can do in class together. There's a good chance I'll be asking you to do some of the lessons on your own. I have videos that are just like what I do in class in my math lab, and there may be a couple where I'm going to have you watch the video and then do the homework, and if you have questions, bring your questions. It is a lot, but I've found that students generally do pretty well with those first 2 weeks just because it's a lot of review. So the other thing is if you can get a head start, and start working before Monday, our first day, then that would be helpful. All right, I think that's about all I have to say. If you have any questions, you can ask me in class or send me an email. That's all, folks.